YouTubers, MJ here with our next episode. I've been getting a lot of requests for how to build a door jamb, so I'm going to do a quick one here just to show you how I do it. And I've already started the driver's side, so I'll do the passenger side here. The best way to start out is get yourself an index card, mechanical pencil, lead pencil, and what you need to do is hold this in there on the back side like so. Doesn't matter where you make your mark, you can stick it in there so you can hold the index card. And when you slide it in there, it's going to hit the rocker there, so it'll go down far enough. And all you got to do is mark where the top of the sill is going to be. That's how I do it, and just get a rough idea. So what that does is it gives you this little mark here. That's the design you need to make. Now you're going to have to do this twice. The reason you're going to do it twice is inside the door jamb here, you want to go right flush with the edge with a piece, and then the second one you made is going to go on the outside of it, and that's going to be your jamb. That's what's going to stop the door, like I did this side. See how it's built up in a layer there? And then on the back side there's another one. That's the piece there that you flush up with the opening. And the second piece that you're going to make, you're going to have to notch it out, for the door to fit on it. And what this does is it gets the door where it needs to be. Now if you have to, if for some reason you put it in there and the door's sticking out a little bit, what you can do is you can sand the edge of the door until you get it to where you need it to be. So there's that one. Now it's not going to be politically correct, but I went ahead and I put a piece in there just to add to the thickness, because there was a little gap there. So on the inside I put a little strip, which will help the rocker on this side because it keeps snapping. Once I get that stable, I can sand that down and make it flush. But I stuck it up just a smidge, so it gives it a little lip. And that'll also help when the door closes. If you have everything straight in there, when you close the door, it'll work. Now, one thing you got to be careful of is these bodies are different thicknesses on each side. Like down here, it's really thick at the bottom. That's just the thickness of the plastic. You get to the top, it gets thinner. So we're going to go ahead, and I showed you how to make that piece. Now you grab your scissors and you cut this out. And then I have some sheet plastic. Just a friend of mine a couple years ago sent me probably about 11 in a package. I don't know what they're for, but they work really good. And the thickness of them, I really couldn't tell you, because I really don't know how to run my micrometer here. I use it for measurements, but we'll stick it on there. And it gives you an idea of what it is. So maybe somebody can read that and you can see it. Sorry, I figured it out 8 years ago how to read one of these, but it's been so long. Well, I forgot. So it's easy to do. So I just use it for checking depths, thicknesses, width. So that's all I use it for, because it's got the inside diameter and then it's got the outside. So a friend of mine gave me this one for free. He's going to give me a couple more when his work upgraded, but I had a half of mine to getting a digital one. They've come down in price too, and I'll probably just go to Harbor Freight for that. Okay, with that in mind, I'm going to go ahead, and I've already cut two pieces that I needed, and we're going to go ahead and piece them in. There's the outside piece. It's got the little notch up at the top to match the door. And then I got one that matches the opening. So I'll slip it up in there, and we'll try to pro weld it into place here without, well, sticking my fingers. So, see, that's the hard part, because as you can see, yep, fits in there really nice. But I got to do this from the back side, so it makes it tricky because you need it flush, but you don't want to glue your fingers either. And my fingers ain't long enough to reach all the way across. I don't want to break those A-pillars again. So kind of got to eyeball the bottom here, and I had to get rid of, there was some glue in here, so I had to get rid of that. So the best thing to do is find a good spot that it's connecting on, and stick some Pro Weld in there, and you got a little bit of time to move it, but not much. So that'll work for there. We'll just kind of stick it into place, slide it up, and it's going to fall out. Like I said, it's there's a tricky part building these, just a little bit. So we'll let her set a little bit. And then I'll move her on to the other side and make sure she's flush. And it's really close. Fairly close. I don't want to put any Pro Weld on this side because I want to put that second piece on there. And I want to have it built up too much. So I'm going to go ahead and hit the inside again. So that'll work for that. Let me go ahead and make sure she's perfectly flush with the edge, which it is. Feels it anyway. And you want to scrape off any excess there because it'll ooze. That's what you want though. You want it to ooze. So that's good there. Top's good. Excuse me. Sorry. I don't know why I'm coughing. It's just one of those things. Maybe it's because it's cold outside. Okay, so we'll let that set a little bit. That'll work for that. And then I'll go ahead and stop this for a minute. Let that set up, and then we'll get ready to do the other side. Okay, while that's setting up, let's go ahead and put this door on. I put a piece of tape because you want it flush with the outside of the body when you put it on there. So let's go ahead and stick the door on here. Slide it all the way to the back. Make sure it's flush. And tape the door to it like so. Now what we're going to do is I'm going to grab this piece, and you almost need like 3 hands. So hopefully you can see how I'm doing this. Slip this in there where you need it to be. It's going to have to go up a little. Got to try to eyeball it where you need it to go. And looks like my problem is I've got to move. There's a piece of glue on the door that's in the way. So I'm going to go in there and cut that out real quick. There, that should do it. Okay, let's try putting this piece back in. Set her down. Oh yeah, that helped. That brought her down. So, make sure it's flush. Slip her back. Should be right about, there. We'll slide it all the way back. I'm going to leave it out for a little bit just because I want this stuff to ooze in itself. It moves itself, so let's stick a little there. push it into place. Make sure it's down all the way. Get a little bit more down on the bottom here. You don't want to put too much in. You don't want to weld the door to the body. So there's that. Let that set a little bit. Stick a mini clothespin on it. This will help ooze it. Now what you want to do is you want to get this tape back off, because you want to make sure it's not stuck to the door. That looks pretty good. Now you're going to want to run, I like using a brush. People say not to use it, but you know what? I got used to using it, so. There's that. Let's go ahead and stick a mini clothespin on it. There we go. Help seal her up a little bit. Doesn't matter if there's a bead there. That's what you actually want, because then you know it's good and tight. Looks like I need a little more there because none's coming out. There we go. I've got little files I can go in there and straighten that out. But what I'm trying to do is ooze it out to make it look like a weld. Which in this case, you know, it's going to be pretty solid, so that's pretty good. And there's no hole when you go to paint it that it'd stick right out. So this way it's sealed up good. Plus you know it's going to be rigid. Okay, while that's setting up, let's go ahead and make a piece for the bottom here. And then I'll put it on the chassis. So you can see, probably what I'm going to do is I'm going to put little legs in here to hold the chassis where it needs to be. So when you go to assemble this, you slip it together, it's going to be in the spot you want it to be in. So, grab another one of these. Go ahead and mark this. I'm going to go a little longer on this side. Not much, but just a little longer because I'm trying to fix a break in the rocker. So I'm going to go all the way across. That looks good there. Let's go ahead and cut her. Get ready to slip her into place here. And what I'm doing is that second piece that I put on for the door jamb, this piece is going to butt right up to it. Just a smidge though. I gotta make sure there's clearance in here. Yep. Okay, so we're good there. Okay, everything looks good. So, bring her down just a little bit. I'm going to try holding it in place with the mini clothespin, so this way I can double check everything. It's going to be up just a smidge. So that'll work. Bring that down just a little. She's all the way tight against it, so that'll work. So I'm going to go on the back side and put some Pro Weld in there. Actually, I'm going to do it right here first because this is where it's the tightest. Go all the way down. Put a little on the spot I just added where I buttered it up. So that'll work for that. Okay, let's move the clothespin down. This way we know she's nice and tight. Let's move this down to here. And she's good and tight. So, put a little bead in down here. So that looks good. Do I have another mini clothespin? No, I don't have one out. That's alright. We'll let that set a minute, and I'll move this down. Okay, minute's up. Want that to be nice and tight for this door jamb. So, oh yeah, it's oozing out a little bit. That's good. This might have moved up just a smidge. Try to move her down a little. There we go. That's where it needs to be. Okay, sounds good there. Stick this on there. Now, before it gets too set up, I'm going to go in there and scrape that out a little. I'm not too worried, like I said, because I've got little files that'll straighten these out. But might as well have it somewhat. Little boogers. That's what it is. There we go. Now, I'm going to go ahead and run just a slight bead up here. And then where that booger was, I'll go across that. That should take care of that. There we go. So there we have it. That rocker's nice. That rocker shouldn't break now, because like I said, I extended it just a little farther. Now, when I go to slip this on the chassis, I might have to trim it back just a little bit, but I'm going to let that set a bit. And I should take care of that. That all looks good. Like I said, it's not going to be politically correct, but because you got to build it per scale, per kit. I mean, you got to have that aspect when you're building. Otherwise, you'd go nuts if you try to make it like a one-to-one. You'd run into so many problems. So I just figured it out as aspect ratio to the kit itself, and try to box in what you got. So, good idea there.